Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that your entire country has vanished. No borders, no government, no flag, swallowed overnight by a neighboring power. That is exactly what happened on August 2nd, 1990, when Iraqi tanks rolled into Kuwait before dawn, crushing a nation in hours and igniting a conflict that would reshape the modern Middle East forever. But this was not just about invasion. It was about oil, power, debt, and a dangerous game of global dominance played by men who believed history belonged to them. This is the story of ambition, miscalculation, and the war that changed everything. If you want to truly understand how power, oil, and hidden decisions shape the world you live in today, hit subscribe now, because what you're about to hear is not just history. It's the blueprint of the modern Middle East. To understand the Gulf War, you have to understand Saddam Hussein. He wasn't just a leader. He was a strategist, a survivor, and a man obsessed with legacy. By the late 1980s, Saddam had just emerged from a brutal 8-year war with Iran, a war that drained Iraq's economy, cost over 1 million lives, and left the country buried under massive debt. But Saddam didn't see defeat. He saw himself as a protector of the Arab world. In his mind, Iraq had fought Iran not just for itself, but for the entire Middle East. And now, he expected to be rewarded. Instead, he was drowning. Iraq owed billions of dollars, especially to Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait refused to forgive the debt. Worse still, Kuwait was producing too much oil. Oil wasn't just fuel. It was power. It was money. It was control. And in the Middle East, oil meant everything. Kuwait's decision to overproduce oil caused global prices to fall. For Iraq, this was devastating. Every drop of oil Kuwait pumped pushed Iraq deeper into financial crisis. But Saddam didn't see this as economics. He saw it as sabotage. He accused Kuwait of economic warfare. And then came an even more explosive accusation that Kuwait was stealing Iraq's oil by drilling diagonally into Iraqi territory. Whether true or not, it gave Saddam the justification he needed. Now, this wasn't just about debt, this was about revenge. In the early hours of August 2nd, 1990, the world changed. Iraqi forces stormed into Kuwait with overwhelming speed. Tanks rolled through the streets, airports were seized, government buildings captured. Within hours, Kuwait was gone. Its leaders fled. Its defenses collapsed. And Saddam Hussein declared Kuwait to be Iraq's 19th province. Just like that. But Saddam made one critical miscalculation. He thought the world would do nothing. This was not just a regional conflict anymore. This was a global crisis. The United States, under President George H.W. Bush, saw something dangerous. If Saddam controlled Kuwait, he would control a massive portion of the world's oil supply. And if he moved further into Saudi Arabia, he could dominate the global economy. That was unacceptable. Within days, a coalition began to form. Not just Western powers, but Arab nations too. This wasn't just about defending Kuwait. It was about stopping a man who had gone too far. Operation Desert Shield was launched. Hundreds of thousands of troops poured into Saudi Arabia. And the message was clear. Iraq had crossed the line. For months, nothing happened. No invasion, no bombing, just tension. The world watched and waited. Diplomacy was attempted. Warnings were issued. Deadlines were set. But Saddam refused to back down. He believed the coalition would fracture. He believed the United States would hesitate. He believed wrong. January 17th, 1991. The sky over Iraq lit up. This was not a traditional war. This was something new. Precision airstrikes, advanced technology, night vision warfare. For weeks, coalition forces bombed Iraqi positions with relentless accuracy. Command centers, infrastructure, military bases. Everything Saddam relied on was systematically destroyed. And then came the ground war. It lasted just 100 hours. One of the fastest and most decisive military victories in modern history. Iraqi forces collapsed. Kuwait was liberated. But the war didn't end cleanly. As Iraqi forces retreated, they were caught on a highway leaving Kuwait. What followed was devastating. Hundreds of vehicles destroyed. Thousands of soldiers killed. The road became a graveyard. It was called the Highway of Death. And it showed the world something uncomfortable. This war may have been quick, but it was not without horror. Saddam Hussein remained in power. That decision would haunt the world. Sanctions were imposed. Iraq suffered economically. Tensions never truly disappeared. And over a decade later, the region would be plunged into conflict again. The Gulf War didn't just end a crisis. It planted the seeds for future wars. The Gulf War wasn't just about Kuwait. It was about oil, power, control of the future. It marked the beginning of a new era, where wars were fought not just with weapons, but with strategy, economics, and global influence. And it revealed a truth that still defines the Middle East today, that beneath every conflict lies a deeper struggle for power. If you want to understand the conflicts shaping our world today, you have to understand the wars that built it. Subscribe to History Codex, where we don't just tell history, we uncover it.